All right, YouTube, and welcome back to Fern Valley Farms YouTube channel, where on this channel we are pure country. Today's video is about spring grass. Obviously, you can see how tall my grass here is out in my pasture. This is all for all you horse people out there who get their horses out on grass. I'm a little late getting this video done. It's been raining. It's been lousy up here in northern Illinois. It hasn't stopped raining. I suppose I could have done one of these videos in the rain, but I finally got a chance to get out here and do this. And it really doesn't matter because the biggest thing is adjusting your horses to grass. When you first put your horse out on spring grass, you got to really be careful. Horses could founder, or they can get laminitis, or they could even colic. The sugar content in grass in the spring is really high. That's why you got to really be careful. So when you put your horses out on grass, this is how I do it. I'm not telling you to do it, but it's a good piece of advice. Put them out. I do it for a couple hours. Usually I'll put them out like 2 hours before I feed. This way when I shake the can of grain, they'll come running back in. If you put them out early in the morning and think you're going to go catch them, have fun with that. When they get out on green grass, they don't want any part of you bringing them in. And you can see here, there's a horse standing right there. There's a couple out way over there. I'm just doing this on the back of the property so you can see what it kind of looks like here. This tripod stinks. I need a better one for out here. That horse right there, see where that tree is? That's his shade tree. That's a black walnut. He loves standing underneath that in the summertime when it's hot. But anyways, here's why it's important. The green grass is so rich in the spring, there's a lot of sugar. What happens is horses can founder. There is a difference between founder and laminitis, and I'm going to do a video on that. Laminitis, what holds everything together in the horse's foot is called the lamina. The lamina holds it all together. When they get laminitis, that lamina gets inflamed, they get sore. When they get founder is actually when the coffin bone that's in the foot rotates. I actually have some bones, some foot bones. I'm going to do a video on this. When they founder, the lamina gets so inflamed, the coffin bone, because the lamina holds everything together in the foot. Well, when it gets so inflamed bad enough, that lamina separates and pulls away from the bone, that's when that coffin bone will rotate. I've been shoeing horses for like 36 years. I'm aging myself. So I deal with a lot of this stuff, and I actually kind of like it because it's really interesting to fix. And generally, I can fix laminitis, founder. That's a whole other video. The only way you're going to know if your horse founders if you have it x-rayed. I have a lot of people that don't want to spend the extra money having a vet out, which is fine. I get it. So there's things that I could do, and generally it does work. But if you have them x-rayed, then you'll know for sure. But anyways, this is about spring grass. Break your horses into it. Don't just throw them out on the grass. You know, there's an old saying, and I've seen this done, God watches out for dummies. I've known people that have taken their horses in the spring, thrown them out in belly-deep grass, and they're fine. If I would do that, mine would be out there colicking. And that's another thing, they can colic. The grass is so rich, they can colic on it. A colic, if it's severe enough, a bad enough twist, you're done. If you catch a colic quick enough, they're okay. But here again, that's a whole other video. So just be careful on the spring grass. Do not just throw your horses out. Well, you could. I don't. Break them into it. Some people do an hour, then they go 2 hours, 3 hours. I generally, myself, will go 2 hours, and then I wish this camera. I generally go 2 hours. You can see all the grass here. I'm just going to leave this right there. Stormy is standing underneath the tree. That's Stormy out there. I do it for 2 hours. I bring them in. Like I said, I usually feed 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't bring them inside. When it's nice out, they have like mud areas. I keep them off the grass. So I'll put them out at 1. I'll start shaking the can of grain. They come running because they want the grain. But the funny thing is, after a few days, they get wise to that. See, horses aren't stupid. They get wise. They're like, oh, no, you're going to lock me in, because as soon as they get done eating their grass, they want to go right back out. Yeah, sorry. You got to stay in. So after a couple of days, they get wise to it. So you might have a hard time catching your horse because they want the grass. And then 2 hours, then 3 hours, 4 hours. Generally, for me, that works. After about 5 days, even 4 days, they're fine. They've adjusted to it. One way you can check to see if they're adjusting to it well is look at their manure pile. If it's coming out like liquid, pull them off the grass. If it's solid and green, that's good. But if it's coming out really liquidy, then you got to back off on the grass. That means it's way too much. So that's another way you could check to see if your horse is adjusting to the grass okay. Look at his manure piles. If the manure piles are solid, if they look normal but they're bright green, that's okay. But if they're watery and liquidy, like my pony, where is she? I have a pony, she's just to the left. Let me see if I can zoom in here. She's an older pony. Oh, that's as far as I can zoom in here. She gets a little runny in the spring, but she was okay. I kind of pulled her off it and then put her back out, and she was all right. But that's another thing to check to see if your horse is adjusting okay. If the piles are totally, if they got the runs, then take them off it. If they're solid, you're okay. Here's the other thing. And then once they adjust to it, if you've got enough pasture, you can just leave them out. And you can see they're not, like he's standing there right now underneath the tree. He's kind of full for right now. They're out here 24/7 now. They got full access to the grass. Once they adjust to it, they're okay. But like I said, give it 3 or 4 days just to make sure. That's how I do it. I'm not telling you you have to do it that way. That's what works for me. And then once they've adjusted to it, they're fine. And you can see the other horses out there. There's 2 of them over there. They are, that mare that chestnut mare standing out there with her head hanging, she's just kind of resting right now. You'll see them. They'll come out, they'll eat, then they'll go back to sleep. Then they'll go back to sleep. Then they'll go back to eating. And then they're okay. Here's your other problem. Now, let's say you got nice, bright green grass, right? It's been raining, the grass is growing, you mow it, whatever. Now you get to about the middle of July or August when you start getting into a drought, or you get a dry period where there's no rain. The grass kind of turns brown a little bit. Now the thing you got to worry about, you got brown grass, your horses are eating it, you think you're safe, and generally you are, but what you got to be careful of, as soon as you get a nice big heavy rain, it brightens that grass up again, boom, your sugar content jumps right back up again. The sugar content is what's going to get you in trouble. I generally leave them out myself because I knock on wood. I haven't had any issues. I should stop talking about that. But I leave them out there, or if it's been really bad, I will lock them in, and then I will just readjust them a little bit to it. But you got to be careful when the grass goes dormant, and you get a couple of days of heavy rain. You take your horses off the grass, and boom, the grass is nice and bright and green again. You got to be careful because that's when you're going to have trouble again. Because all that sugar content just jumped right back up. I've seen horses have laminitis or founder out of nowhere. Horses that have never had it, boom, there it is. They're out there laying down. You go to get them up, and they can hardly stand. But that, like I said, that's in a whole other video. So the sugar content in your grass is what you got to be careful of. So anyways, that's the moral of this story. Be careful on the green grass in the spring. Break them into it. And then once fall gets here and the grass is kind of going dormant, if you've got enough pasture where they're not going to hurt it, you're fine. I pull mine off. When they got it chewed down so short in the fall and the grass has stopped growing, I take them off. Because all they're going to do is, I don't have a lot. I only got like 5.5 acres. So I only have so much pasture. If I had 50, 100 acres of pasture, I wouldn't even care because they're not going to hurt that. But I've got smaller areas, so I pull them off it. If you let them chew it down to nothing, it takes a lot longer to rejuvenate in the spring. And I did reseed this pasture, these pastures back last fall. I did make a video on that. So anyways, yeah, I pull mine off, and then they're stuck in the mud lots, in the mud areas or dirt areas until the following spring. So anyways, the moral of the story is break your horses into the grass. So hopefully you like this video. Hopefully you learned something from it. You got any questions, please ask. I've been doing this a long time. I think I've got it kind of figured out. Like I said, hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. After about a week, you should be okay. But just check on your horses, make sure they're doing okay. So hopefully you liked the video. Click the little subscribe tab right there. Subscribe to the channel. If you do subscribe, there's a little bell right next to that subscribe button. Click that bell. You'll get notified every time I make a video. And I'd also appreciate a thumbs up. Click that little thumbs up there. The more thumbs up I get, the quicker these videos pop up on searches. So anyways, like I said, hopefully you learned something from this. You got any questions, comments, please leave them. So I will talk to you guys later. All right, bye.